The chapter 2 of the human life, ito yung tinatawag nating infancy. Remember, the first chapter of our life is called the prenatal period. Kung hindi mo pa napanood yung video on the prenatal period, I suggest panoorin mo muna yung video na yon before starting to watch this video. So let's talk about the chapter 2 of the human life, which is called infancy. Merong isang author, ang sabi niya, infancy is a vulnerable stage of development. Therefore, it's not enough that babies receive good care. The care must be excellent. At ako, nag-agree ako dito, no? As you will see later on as we go along, ang infancy talaga, ang mga tao na nasa stage na yan, very vulnerable because this is where almost everything starts. Don't get me wrong, no? Meron na rin naman nagsimula doon sa prenatal period, but a lot of psychological things that are foundational for our future functioning starts during infancy. So, paano kaya natin maibibigay yung care na excellent? Because this is a very important stage, it's foundational. Paano natin maibibigay yung excellent care for the babies? So, we are going to discuss the key events that happen in infancy para matuto tayo on how to provide this excellent care. Okay? So, during infancy, tuwing gaano ka katagal na infant from birth to 2 years old. So, if you remember, during the prenatal period, you had 3 changes of names. Dati, zygote ka, maya-maya naging embryo ka, maya-maya fetus ka na. Diba? From 3rd month and up, you become a fetus. And then, after approximately 9 months, lalabas ka na sa sinapupunan ng iyong mommy, then you will be officially known as a baby. But how long are you a baby? Hanggang 2 years old lang. So, pagdating mo ng 3rd birthday mo, basically, hindi ka na baby. Now, do you know, during infancy, the brain size is 25% only of the adult size. So, the brain is very small. There is a very long way to go bago natin ma-achieve yung full development of the brain. Okay, so maliit na maliit yung brain ng mga babies, only 25% of its adult size. Another key feature of people in infancy, they sleep a lot. They sleep a total of 16 to 17 hours a day. Tayong mga adults baliktad. We are awake 16 to 17 hours a day and we only sleep 8 hours a day. Now, what explains this? Bakit ba yung mga babies, tulog sila ng tulog? Maraming posibleng dahilan, but I think the most important reason why they sleep a lot has something to do with their brain development. Kaya sila natutulog ng natutulog because they need sleep to support the growing brain. Remember, ang brain ng mga babies, 25% of its adult size, so it's a long way to go. But sleeping is one way para yung brain ng baby ay lumaki ng lumaki papunta sa adulthood. Remember, during this time, the brain is growing very fast. In fact, the brain is expected to grow for the next 6 months very quickly. Dumadami yung tinatawag natin mga synapses. Dumadami yung mga tinatawag nating mga connections between the brain cells. And this is needed. 'Di ba? Para yung baby habang tumatagal, tumatalino siya, mas nagiging functional siya in our society. The brain needs to grow. And one way for nature to make sure that the brain grows is again through sleeping. So that's a very important idea that you need to remember. During this time, the brain development of babies talaga namang napakabilis. As you can see on the slide, mabilis dumami yung mga synapse, yung mga brain connections, talagang mabilis ang pagdami niyan during the first 6 months of life. During this time, tandaan natin that a lot of the behaviors of babies are involuntary or characterized by reflexes. So yung mga pinagagawa ng mga babies, yung mga paggalaw nila, marami doon, mga reflexes lang yon, no? Ibig sabihin, hindi nila ginusto na gumagalaw sila ng ganon. They don't have a voluntary control of their movements. That's why, if you see a baby, marami mga babies, yung movements nila parang random. And that is understandable. It is because their brain, as you can see in the picture, di ba may arrow dyan, babies, yung kanilang upper part of the brain is still underdeveloped. Yung upper part of the brain, yan kasi yung nag-handle ng voluntary actions. Pero dahil underdeveloped ngayon, the baby's behaviors are very much controlled by the lower part of the brain. And that explains why a lot of babies, when they move, it's characterized by involuntary movements or reflexes. And the thing is, alam nyo ba, napakahalaga na i-check natin if babies are showing these reflexes. This is one of the things that doctors check when the baby is born. Tinitignan ng mga doctors kung yung baby ba nagpapakita ba siya ng mga basic reflexes, because this is an indicator of intellectual health. In fact, I could say isa ito sa unang psychological test na kukunin natin when we enter the world. Nagpapakita ba tayo ng mga expected reflexes? When babies don't show reflexes, red flag yan for certain intellectual development. Baka may diferensya yung brain. Baka hindi healthy yung intellect nung baby. That's why, kinakailangan talaga yung mga babies, when they are checked, maipakita nila that they are showing those reflexes. Like what? What are some of these reflexes that we expect babies to show? Syempre yung basic dyan, nandyan yung sucking reflex, di ba? How do you test a baby's sucking reflex? You just place anything inside the baby's mouth, and then automatically dapat sisipsipin nila kahit ano man yung ilagay mo doon sa kanilang bibig. We also have rooting reflex. Paano ginagawa yan? Stimulate mo lang yung cheek ng baby, either side, and then what should happen is the baby should follow the stimulation with their mouth. Ang tawag doon, rooting reflex. Meron din tayong grasping reflex. Ilagay mo yung daliri mo sa palm ng baby mo, and then reflexively, they are going to grab your finger. So, wag kayong magkaroon ng ilusyon na love ka nung baby kasi hinawakan niya yung daliri mo. That is actually just a reflex. We also have a stepping reflex. You hold the baby that way, yung nakalagay sa slide, and then you create contact between the ground and the baby's feet. Ang mangyayari dyan, the baby would express step-like behaviors, no? Yung parang talagang umaakit siya ng hagdan. That is a very important reflex. Meron din tayong tinatawag na smiling reflex from 0 to 1 month. Usually, makikita mo yung mga babies, especially when they're asleep. They are smiling. And culturally speaking, meron tayong belief na when babies smile during sleep, nilalaro siya ng kanyang guardian angel, no? So, empirically speaking, scientifically speaking, hindi totoo yon. Babies smile because this is a form of reflex. It is based on the random movements or random activities in the lower brain of the baby. But as the baby matures, habang papunta siya doon sa second month, yung smile na yan magiging laughter. Now the baby will smile or will laugh when the baby finds something funny. Kasi doon sa 0 to 1 month, kahit wala naman nakakatawa, kahit walang reason, they would smile. Okay, so that's a very important idea to remember. Do you know that babies also have swimming or floating reflex? And that's very understandable. Remember, 9 months, nasa underwater sila. Oo, 'di ba? So, yung nature has given them some capacity to still remember how to survive underwater. Now, don't get me wrong, no? Hindi ko sinasabi na ang mga babies hindi nalulunod, no? They do drown. It's just that there is a certain period in their life where their bodies know how to react or how to behave when they are submerged in the water. So, yan yung tinatawag nating swimming or floating reflex. At alam nyo, interesting din to, no? Kasi ang ibig sabihin lang pala nito, for those of you who don't know how to swim, once upon a time, marunong kang mag-swim. Nalimutan mo lang, nawala na lang yung reflex mo for swimming. But long before, marunong kang lumangoy. Okay? So, what lesson can we learn from all these things about reflexes? I hope you realize na ang mind talaga natin, okay, yung ating psyche, yung default niya is to survive. Remember, reflexes are given to us by nature for us to survive. Bawat reflex na sinabi ko kanina, meron niyang contribution for our own survival. Like for example, yung sucking reflex. This is nature's way of helping babies gain nutrition from a source. Yung rooting reflex, ano yung survival value nun? It helps the babies or it guides babies where to find the source of nutrition. Actually, yung rooting reflex, ano yan, ginagamit yan for breastfeeding, di ba? Ang gagawin lang ng mother is didikit lang niya yung kanyang nipple doon sa cheek ng baby, and so the baby will automatically look for the source of the milk and then suck the source of the milk. 'Di ba? So lahat ng reflexes talaga, this is our way of survival. So ang default ng mind natin is to survive. Our genes, our program as human beings is we want to survive. And you know what? Meron ako nakikitang biblical parallelism dito, no? God loves people so much that He gave us these reflexes because He wants us to survive. He wants to ensure that we have the enough tools to survive infancy. Diba sabi nga yan sa Book of Psalms, no? He will cover you with His feathers. Isa sa mga feathers na pinangko-cover ni God sa atin is these reflexes that He has given to us. Diba? He makes sure that we are protected because we have reflexes. He makes sure that our chance of survival will be high because we have the reflexes to help us survive. So, dyan pa lang makikita mo na talaga yung loving nature ng Diyos. Baby pa lang, yung creation niya, pinoprotektahan niya through the reflexes. Now, let's talk about infant memory. Isa ito sa mga hot topics in infancy. Do babies remember? Can babies remember? Actually, to answer that question, alam nyo ba, memory starts in utero. Meron ng memory yung mga babies doon sa prenatal period pa lang, specifically during the fetal period. Kasi during the fetal period, if you remember, meron ng brain eh. And studies show that their brains during that time in utero, it already has the capacity to remember information. Merong isang pag-aaral na ginawa dito to support that idea, the one by De Casper and Spence. In that study, ang ganda ng ginawa nila, merong mga mommies na buntis, okay? So, yung mga mothers na yon, they were asked by the experimenters to read certain portions of the book, The Cat in the Hat. So, araw-araw binabasa nila yung certain parts of the book doon sa kanilang baby inside their bodies. And then after these babies were born around their second month, okay, these mothers again were asked by the psychologists to read the same portions of the book that they have read before. So, binasa ulit nila only this time yung mga babies na sa labas na ng kanilang katawan, no? And according to the results, when babies heard those parts of the book na binasa dati in utero, guess what? Tumaas yung heart rates ng mga babies. And that indicates that these babies remember those words that they've heard in utero. See? So, ibig sabihin, this only proves na meron na talagang memory in utero. So, ang point dito, if there is already memory in utero, logically speaking, lalo na kapag infancy, meron na ring memory during infancy. So, going back, do babies remember during infancy? The answer is yes, but merong condition yan, no? They remember, what they remember is very limited. They don't remember as many things as how many things we remember as adults. Very limited lang yung infant memory. Meron siyang mga limitations na na-overcome na ng mga adults. So the question is, what are these infant memory limitations? Halimbawa, yung mga babies meron silang infantile amnesia. Ibig sabihin, they are unable to remember any events that happened during the first 2 years of life. In fact, pwede mong i-test ito sa sarili mo, no? I would like you to recall any events, mga pangyayari sa buhay mo na nangyari during the first 2 years of your existence. From 0 to 2 years. Chances are, wala kang maaalala. Kasi yung mga unang memories talaga na kaya mong i-recall would be at around age 3 years old. But basically, your brain is blind from memories from age 0 to 2 years old. At ang dahilan dyan, it's because, again, of the underdeveloped brain. Specifically, yung mga brain centers natin responsible for absorbing memories, hindi pa siya ganun kalaki for it to be able to absorb memories such as the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. Ayan, as you can see on the screen. Maliit pa lang yung brain, therefore maliit pa lang din yung prefrontal cortex, maliit pa lang din yung hippocampus, hindi pa nila kayang mag-absorb ng mga episodic memories, memories of certain events that happen in your life. Another limitation of infant memory, meron silang tinatawag na object permanence. Object permanence is the ability, your ability to represent, to mentally represent an object that you don't see. tayong mga adults, meron na tayong object permanence, no? Like for example, if I ask you to look at this phone, 'di ba? Oh, tignan niyo lang yung phone na 'yan. See? Okay, picture this phone, and then if I hide the phone like that, you have the ability to still see that phone inside your head. No, kumbaga parang na-photocopy mo yung phone na pinakita ko kanina mentally. Meron kang mental version of the phone that I have shown you a while ago. Babies cannot do that. Diba? Ang mga babies nga raw is out of sight, out of mind, no? So for example, when they see something like this, oh, nasisense nila yan, nakikita nila yan. But if you hide that object like that, what happens? Dahil wala pa silang object permanence, they forget that there was an object kanina sa harapan nila. That's why in the perspective of a baby, when it comes to objects, no, as you can see on the screen, lahat na nakikita nila, it seems nakita nila for the first time. Kahit nakita na nila kanina yon. Yun yung tinatawag nating absence of object permanence. In fact, if you have a baby at your house, there's one way for you to test kung meron na ba silang object permanence. No? Ito yung classic way of testing object permanence. Okay, so magpakita ka sa kanya ng isang toy, and you let the baby play with that toy, and then you cover that toy, and then what happens? The baby will forget that there was a toy in front of him just a while ago. Yan yung tinatawag nating out of sight and out of mind. So, ganyan yung kanilang memory skill when it comes to objects. Okay? So, ano pa yung mga bagay na kayang maalala ng babies? Even if they have memory limitations, again, meron din naman silang mga kayang maalala, but very limited. Like what? Number 1, they could remember their parents' voices. Number 2, they remember their parents' smell, yung amoy, especially their mothers. Alam nila kung yung breast milk ba is coming from their mother or from other mothers, 'di ba? Familiar sila sa smell. Number 3, some objects. O, 'di ba sabi ko kanina meron silang object permanence, pero ngayon, bakit merong some objects? Kaya nga some kasi meron silang ang mga babies, meron silang mga toys na favorite na mukhang mas na-absorb yun ng kanilang memory because it's their favorite toys, no? Maybe because those toys generated strong emotions within them, so they tend to remember those toys. Pero yung mga objects na hindi naman ganun kalakas yung impact sa kanila, out of sight and out of mind sila doon. And number 4, eto, very interesting. Do you know that babies have good memories when it comes to people's faces or facial expressions? Na-discover ito ni Andrew Meltzoff, who is an infant memory expert, no? In his study, napakaganda ng pag-aaral niya. Kumuha siya ng mga babies, nilagay niya sa laboratory, and then he expressed different facial expressions. He showed the babies different facial expressions, as you can see on the screen. So dumila siya, o tapos binuka niya yung bibig niya, basta nilalaro-laro niya yung faces niya while a baby is looking at him. Now, during those times, habang yung baby nakatingin sa kanya, walang ginagawa yung mga babies. They are just very interested doon sa face na nakikita nila. By the way, no, i-add ko lang, do you know, according to infant psychologists, isa sa mga pinaka-interesting na mga bagay that babies would like to look at is none other than human faces. They are wired to process human faces. They are wired to be interested to human faces. Kaya yung ginagawa ito ni Andrew Meltzoff, yung mga babies talagang aliw na aliw sa kanya. So Andrew Meltzoff was doing all these facial expressions, but ito yung highlight ng experiment. Days after, for some babies, weeks after that he did those facial gestures, there was a time in the laboratory, yung mga babies began showing the expressions na pinakita niya days before or even weeks before. Or weeks ago or days ago. So, yung mga babies, kahit wala silang nakikita, kahit walang tao sa harap nila, biglang nagagaya nila yung mga facial expressions that Meltzoff showed to them weeks ago. And what does that tell us? When it comes to human faces, babies have the ability to mentally represent facial expressions. Yun. So, may exception sa object permanence. Anong exception? Human face. Kaya nga object permanence eh, 'di ba? Object lang yung mahina ang memory nila, but when it comes to faces, they have the ability to mentally represent different gestures of human faces. Kaya naman again, this is a strong evidence that human beings are really meant to interact with other people. 'Di ba? Naalala niyo sa Bible nakasulat din 'yan, no? It is not good for a man to be alone, which tells us that human beings by nature are social beings. 'Di ba? We are built to remember things about other people. Pinaka-basic diyan is their facial expression. Idagdag ko lang din, number 5, so what can babies remember? Do you know they also remember physical principles? They become little physicists. Merong point sa kanilang infancy na kung saan nakaka-discover sila ng mga physical laws of the earth and they remember those physical laws. Okay, halimbawa, bigyan ko kayo ng example. There was a study done by a psychologist by the name of Rovi Collier. Imagine the baby on the slide. Okay? As you can see, merong tali doon sa paa niya and that string is attached to that toy just above the baby. Now, when you kick, when the baby kicks this toy, the toy on top of him would make a sound, would make an interesting sound, and the baby would like it. So in this case, the baby will discover that whenever he kicks, the sound or the toy will sound. Diba? So, tuwing matatapos na yung sound, ang gagawin ng baby, papadyak siya para makagawa ulit ng sound. Now, they already understand that. They remember that principle. Meron na silang parang capacity to understand cause and effect relationships. I kick, then I hear the sound that I like. Now, after this phase in the experiment, lumipas ang ilang linggo, the same babies were put in the same laboratory. They were put in the same setup. But this time, wala nang tali. Wala nang tali. So this baby can see that toy that sounds, pero this time hindi na nakatali yung paa niya doon sa toy na nakikita niya. But guess what happened? When the baby saw that toy, ang una niyang ginawa, naalala niya that this toy sounds, sumipa siya. Sumisipa yung baby, expecting that the toy would sound. But of course, it will not sound kasi wala ngang string na naka-attach doon sa toy. Which tells us that babies remember cause and effect relationships of physical objects. Diba? So, naalala nila na kapag sumipa ako, this object would create a sound that I like. Alright? So again, babies have the capacity to discover these physical laws. At dadami pa yung discovery nila about the physical laws. Sabi ko nga, nagiging parang little physicists sila, no? As they learn locomotion. Ibig sabihin, kapag meron na silang capacity gumalaw, gumagapang na sila, tumatayo na sila, they can now use their fingers to manipulate things. The more they do this, the more they discover their environment, the more they understand how physical laws of the earth works. Naiintindihan na nila na merong mga bagay na solid, merong ibang mga bagay na liquid. Naiintindihan na nila that when a solid hits another solid, merong mga mangyayari. Ano mangyayari kapag yung liquid nilagay mo sa isang solid? They would know what will happen. See? Kasi nga, they are becoming like little physicists during this time because of their constant exploration of their environment. Kaya naman ito yung mga applications dyan, no? You need to support the baby's intellectual development. Going back to the idea that I told you a while ago, during this time, the brain is growing very fast. Dumadami yung brain cells. Dumadami yung mga synapses inside the baby's brain. And the thing is, you need to support that. Hindi pwedeng dumadami lang siya ng kusa. Ano kinakailangan? Habang dumadami yung brain cells, you are supporting that process. And one way to support that process, of course, yung pinaka-basic, proper nutrition. Diba? Kaya nga pinapakain natin sila ng mga masusustansyang pagkain to support the brain development. But more importantly, the brain development of the baby must be supported by experience. Diba? Kinakailangan ayusin mo yung environment niya, gawin mong stimulating, and you allow them to explore the environment. So the more you do these things, the more you are supporting the intellectual development of the baby para yung baby lumalaking matalino, lumalaki siyang curious. Lumalaki siyang curious sa mga bagay-bagay at nagiging matalino siya as the baby grows bigger. Okay? So those are very good applications to remember when you are dealing with a baby. Sabi nga ni Daniel Quinn, from infancy onward, children are the most fantastic learners in the world. During infancy, the brain is hungry for learning. And as the caregiver, responsibilidad mo to satisfy that hunger for learning that babies have. That's one way to give them excellent care. Okay, bigyan mo sila ng mga opportunities, bigyan mo sila ng environment where they can satisfy their hunger for learning. Now, let's talk about language. Paano ba natututo magsalita yung mga babies? Syempre, hindi naman kaagad sila marunong magsalita. Ang unang salita nila na alam nilang gamitin is none other than crying. Diba? Kaya ang baby, tandaan nyo, kapag umiiyak, hindi ibig sabihin gutom lagi. Because most parents, most people think that babies cry because they're hungry. Although, totoo din naman yon. One of the reasons why babies cry is because they are hungry. Gusto nilang kumain or gusto nilang uminom ng gatas, but not always. Alam nyo ba, maraming ibig sabihin ang iyak ng bata. Okay? Pwedeng gutom sila, pwedeng they are in pain, pwedeng nabobore sila, pwedeng galit sila, or nagpapapansin lang, seeking for attention. Okay, ang tanong, paano mo malalaman what is the meaning of the baby's cry? Ang sagot dyan, depende yan sa sound pattern. There are certain sound patterns of baby's cry that will tell you that they mean something. And that skill is being developed by the mother. Oo, kasi siya yung lagi nakakarinig ng iyak ng bata, no? So, as mothers have more experiences with babies, natututo sila unti-unti kung anong klaseng iyak yung binibigay nung baby. Okay? So, isa yan sa mga skills na dapat matutunan ng mga nanay or even yung mga fathers, no? Kasi hindi lahat ng iyak ng bata nagugutom sila. Kasi, the thing is, when you hear a baby cry, you need to respond. But what kind of response do you need to do? Depende yan, ba't umiiyak yung bata? Baka kasi mamaya, yung baby in pain, ang interpretation mo, the baby is hungry, so pinakain mo. Diba? So, hindi ngayon mapapacify yung bata kasi iba yung need niya, hindi tugma doon sa response na ginawa mo. That's why you really need to learn how to read, how to differentiate the different types of the cry of the baby. Pero syempre, no, pag baby pa lang yan, pag newly born pa lang yan, but as they grow older, as the brain matures, unti-unti, now they learn the idea that they can also communicate without crying. Yun, natututo na sila na, hindi lang pala pwede puro iyak lang para mag-communicate ako. No? They can also use words to communicate what they mean. Yan, unti-unti, nagigets nila yung idea na yan. I can use words. But when we talk about words, syempre, we talk about language. So, anong language ba yung natututunan ng baby? How do you teach a baby to use a certain language? Of course, ang pinaka-obvious na sagot dyan, ang unang language na matututunan ng baby is none other than the mother tongue. Pag sinabi mong mother tongue, ito yung lengguwahe that the caregivers are using to communicate with the baby. It could be any language, Tagalog, English, Chinese, basta kung ano yung language na lagi niyang naririnig or the language that the caregiver would like the baby to learn, that will be the mother tongue. And that will be the first language that the baby would learn. Pero trivia, alam nyo ba, during infancy, this is the best time to teach babies how to be bilingual or how to be trilingual or even more language. Oo, ang mga babies, yung brain nila, it is so powerful that it can handle more than one language. Sabi nga ni Dr. Patricia, no, who is an infant expert, sabi niya, babies can discriminate all the sounds of all languages, no matter what country we're testing and what language we're using. Kapag in-expose mo ang isang baby sa Chinese language, in-expose mo rin siya sa English language, hindi malilito yung brain ng baby. Kasi marami yan yung worry, di ba? Baka malito yung baby, baka mapaghalo-halo niya yung language. Not necessarily. Because the brain of the baby is so powerful to handle more than one language. In fact, just to use an analogy, kapag in-expose mo yung baby in 2 different languages during this period, their brain will create quote-unquote 2 folders. Kumbaga sa computer, gagawa ng 2 folders yung brain ng baby. The baby brain would know that this language is English and that the other language is Chinese. Of course, hindi pa nila alam na English ang tawag doon or Chinese ang tawag doon, but the baby brain will know, will determine, can differentiate that this language is different from the other language. See, ganun ka-powerful yung brain ng mga baby. So again, the lesson here is if you would like your baby to learn more than one language, this is the best time to expose them to those languages that you want them to learn. Kasi, sabi nga dito sa graph na ito, no, habang tumatanda ang baby as they mature, as they grow older, the capacity of the brain to learn more than one language bumababa. So as you can see here on the graph, pinakamalakas talaga ang brain in learning languages, yung native, ibig sabihin newly born. Tapos, simula 3rd month to 7 months, pababa ng pababa yan. So, if you would like your baby to learn more than one language, you start as early as possible. And of course, as they learn these words, unti-unti, hindi ko na lang diniscuss dito, pero unti-unti yan nag-a-advance, They start with 1 word, then they combine 2 words, and then nag-uutal-utal na sila ng phrases, maya-maya sentences na. Again, how do they move? How do they improve in the way they use their language that they've learned? You talk to them. The best interaction that babies should be given is none other than human interaction. It is good for them emotionally, it is good for them intellectually, but most importantly, it is also good to develop their linguistic skills. The more na naririnig nila yung ibang tao, kinakausap sila, they learn a lot of things about language. They learn how to communicate. Natututo sila na ganun pala ang communication. May magsasalita, yung isa makikinig. So kapag may isa nagsasalita, mag-aantay sila bago magsalita. Kapag huminto na yung nagsasalita, that's the time that they speak. After they speak, they would expect that the other person would speak back. See? Paano nila natututunan yan? The more they have experience with human beings, with other human beings, the more other people are talking to them, the more they are being educated how language works. Another thing about infancy, alam nyo ba ang babies, meron na silang emotional life. Marami akong mga nakakausap, naniniwala sila na ang mga babies daw wala pang emotional life. Hindi pa raw sila nakakaramdam ng saya, ng lungkot. Science disagrees because according to infant psychologists, babies are already capable of feeling emotions. It's just that yung emotions na nafe-feel nila during infancy, limited pa lang. Limited pa lang doon sa basic emotions or the primary emotions. Anger, fear, joy, sadness, love. Yan pa lang. But, again, as their brain gets bigger, as they mature, as they gain more experience, as they meet more human beings, they are now being capable of feeling secondary emotions. So, marunong na silang magselos, marunong na silang maging vulnerable. Now they experience pride. Again, how do you move babies from feeling primary emotions to feeling secondary emotions? The more you interact with them, the more you give them social experiences, the more you are enhancing their emotional capacities. Kaya napakahalaga talaga during infancy that you give them their dose of social interaction. Another interesting thing about infancy is, alam nyo ba, meron na silang temper during this time. Contrary to many people, they believe na yung temper daw natin na ituturo. 'Di ba? By the way, yung temper, ibig sabihin yan, this is your ability to react or your ability to control your emotions in different situations. 'Di ba? May ibang mga tao, ano ba sila? May mga ibang tao mainitin ng ulo. May ibang mga tao naman chill lang. May ibang mga tao naman malungkotin. Yung iba masiyahin. Guess what? That's inborn. Your temperament, you already have that when you are when you were an infant. Paano natin nalaman to? Because of the study done by Thomas and Chess. Nakita nila na when you observe thousands of babies, you can categorize them to have 3 different temperaments, diba? Sa original study ni Thomas and Chess, sabi nila, babies can have an easy temperament, they can have difficult temperament, or they can have slow to warm up temperament. So basahin nyo na lang kung ano ibig sabihin nyo nung mga yon. But again, the big picture here is, we are not an empty slate when we were born. Diba? Meron ng laman yung ating pag-iisip. We are not a blank slate. One of those things is our temper. Question, yung temper ba nung baby, halimbawa kung saan man siya dyan sa tatlo, is that already permanent? Is that already for a lifetime? The answer is no. Although meron tayong natural temperament, pwede pa siyang mabago yung form through the environment, through our social interactions with other people, through our education in how to handle our emotions. Pwede pa namang magbago yung forma nung temperament ng mga babies. Okay? Another issue about infant emotion would be infant temperament, 'di ba? Ito, ang pinakaguro dito is none other than Ainsworth, no? Si Mary Ainsworth. Sabi niya, ang infant attachment refers to how safe the baby feels towards another person. Who is who? Sino tong another person na ito? Most likely, the caregiver. So, yung level of safety or yung level of trust that the baby gives to the caregiver refers to that baby's infant attachment. For the sake of simplicity, kasi masyado pang marami mga klase ng infant attachment, no? But for the sake of simplicity, tandaan nyo lang na yung mga babies can either be securely attached to the caregiver or insecurely attached. Ano pinagkaiba ng secure attached sa insecurely attached? Pag sinabi mong securely attached yung baby, the baby basically likes the caregiver. The baby loves the caregiver. The baby feels loved by the caregiver. Masaya siyang kasama yung caregiver. If the baby is like that to the caregiver, securely attached siya doon sa caregiver na yon. Insecurely attached, baliktad. The baby is anxious with the caregiver. The baby hates the caregiver. The baby is scared of the caregiver. O ngayon, ano ngayon ang implication niyan? Ano ngayon if the baby is securely attached or insecurely attached, no? Meron kasi yung implication sa personality nila. Oo, may implication yan sa personality nila, no? Like for example, studies show that your attachment to your caregiver will have long-term effects on your personality. Halimbawa, yung mga babies daw na securely attached, okay? Ito yung mga magagandang epekto if you are able to feel loved by your caregiver. Many years after, they become successful in the society. They are less prone to psychological disorders, and most of these babies, again, bumilang ka ng taon, bumilang ka ng dekada, in the future, they have healthier and lasting relationships compared to those babies who are insecurely attached. In fact, sabi nga ng mga infant psychologists, no, during this time, dito nagsisimula yung trust. Babies learn how to trust during infancy. They learn how to, natututo sila kung paano magtiwala sa isang tao. So, you can say that infancy is a period where we undergo trust education. Kaya, yung mga nanonood ngayon na may mga trust issues, no? One of the reasons bakit kami trust issues, bakit hirap ka magtiwala sa ibang tao, it has something to do with your infancy. Baka kasi nung baby ka pa lang, hindi ka naging securely attached doon sa iyong caregiver. Kaya meron kang trust issues. You know? Oh, by the way, hindi ako yung nagsabi niyan. No? It was Erik Erikson, a very popular developmental psychologist. Siya yung nagsabi niyan that during infancy, this is the best time that babies, that a human being for the first time in their life, learn how to trust other people. Nasasayog nila yung tanong na can I rely on other people? Diba? It is during infancy that babies will conclude the answer to that question. Can I rely on people? Again, depende yan kung securely attached siya sa caregiver niya o hindi. Now, the thing is, to learn how to trust other people, all is good. Kasi nga, emotional skill ang trusting eh. And later on, when we become more mature, yung ability of trusting na yan, magiging mahalaga yan, for example, in the formation of relationships. Di ba sabi nga nila, ang foundation ng human relationship is trust. Tama naman yun. So you can only imagine if the baby did not learn how to trust, hirap siya mag-trust kasi insecurely attached siya doon sa caregiver, mahihirapan ngayon siya sa kanyang future relationships. Mahihirapan siya makipagkaibigan, mahihirapan siyang mag-form ng intimacy with someone, so hindi magiging okay yung kanyang social life, which will also affect the other components of the mind. Maapektuhan na niya yung emotions niya, maapektuhan na niya yung kanyang intellect, so on and so forth. So the question now is, how do you make sure na yung baby mo magiging securely attached sa'yo para matuto siya mag-trust? There are two words to remember: warmth and consistency. So dapat ipaparamdam mo doon sa inaalagaan mong baby na warm ka sa kanya. Napaparamdam mo na gusto mo siya, napaparamdam mo na nag-e-enjoy ka, nakasama ka niya, napaparamdam mo na mahal mo siya, na binavalue mo siya, na iniingatan mo siya. That's warmth. Consistency naman, it has something to do with responding to what the baby needs. So tuwing yung baby iiyak, may masakit sa kanya, or gutom siya, or basa yung diaper niya, or ano man yung kailangan niya, dapat nasa-sense nung baby na nagre-respond ka doon sa mga needs niya. Nandun ka kaagad para palitan yung diaper, nandun ka kaagad para pakainin siya, nandun ka kaagad para yakapin siya because the baby is feeling anxious. The more you are consistent, the more nagiging securely attached yung baby sa'yo. Now, some people would say, no, and I would like to correct this, sir, kasi pag consistent ka, baka maging dependent yung baby sa'yo. Baka tinuturuan mo yung baby na maging spoiled. No, yung tuwing nagre-respond ka, gusto niya laging merong sasalo sa kanya. I have heard parents, may ganyan silang belief na baka raw ma-spoil yung bata. I beg to disagree. Ang mga bata, kapag nagre-respond ka sa mga needs nila, basically hindi sila nai-spoil. But the more you respond to the things that they need, the more you are teaching them how to trust. Kasi kapag halimbawa, hindi ka consistent, panindigan mo yung paniniwala mo na ini-spoil mo lang yung bata. And some parents would do this, no? Yung ginagawa nila, minsan magre-respond sila, minsan hindi. Para daw matrain yung bata how to be independent. That's not the message that you are teaching the baby. If you are inconsistent in the way you handle a baby, what you're teaching is people are unreliable. So kahit hindi mo siya tinuturo in words, but based on his experience, based on her experience, mukhang ganun yung lumalabas. Ang mga tao minsan nandyan, minsan wala. You are educating the baby that people cannot be trusted. People are not consistent. Sometimes they are there, sometimes they're not. So lalaki ngayon yung bata, ganyan ngayon yung kanyang social framework. That you cannot really trust on anybody. So diyan na ngayon magtatayo yan ng wall unti-unti, na dapat ang pagkakatiwalaan ko lang sarili ko. Oo, hindi ako didepende sa iba, which is not the design of life. Remember, our life is designed for interdependence. All people need each other in a certain way. 'Di ba? Biblically speaking, sinabi nga yan ni King Solomon, no? Two are better than one. We are not meant to be alone. So the only way that you can really teach the baby to trust other people, is to be consistent in the way you respond to their needs. So again, the more you use warmth, or the more you express warmth, the more you are consistent with what they need, the more nagiging securely attached sila sa'yo, and the more you are teaching them how to trust other people. On the other hand, yung mga babies naman na mga insecurely attached, kabaliktaran naman yung nakita ng mga psychologists sa kanila. Many years after, a lot of them are very prone or are already suffering from a number of psychological disorders. Lalong-lalo na, depression. Isa sa mga reasons yan bakit ang tao nadidepress, no? Insecure attachment during infancy. Mataas ang suicide rates nila. Marami silang mga relationships unstable kasi nga, again, sa issue ng trust, they cannot trust other people. So, yung mga relationships nila on and off or hindi stable. And during adolescence, studies show na yung mga insecurely attached babies, when they become adolescents, mas prone sila sa premarital sex. And the explanation here is kasi dahil insecurely attached sila nung babies pa sila, hindi na develop sa kanila yung emotional regulation. So when they feel like doing sex, they immediately do it. Hindi sila nakakapag-control nung kanilang emotion. Kasi isa rin sa na ituturo mo when you constantly respond to baby's needs is emotional regulation. You are teaching them how to regulate their emotions. Kung hindi ka nagre-respond sa needs nila, ang nangyayari when they grow older, wala ngayon silang ability to regulate their emotions. They just do what they feel like they're doing. Kaya nagiging prone sila sa premarital sex. And one more explanation is the reason why mas prone sila sa premarital sex is because they think that the affection that they are getting from doing sex is the substitute for the affection that they have missed when they were babies. Naniniwala sila na yung affection na nakukuha nila sa mga boyfriends and girlfriends nila, ito yung substitute, ito yung pagmamahal na hindi nila naranasan when they were infants. So I hope by this time you realize na talagang in developmental psychology, yung mga nangyayari ng maaga during the early stage of life, merong mga long-term effects yan as the person grows older, especially during infancy. Grabe yung mga effect niya, no? Yung akala mo, wala lang during infancy, yun pala, meron siyang long-term effect sa atin as we grow older. Kaya naman, I think, biblically speaking, this is the reason why Jesus kept on telling us that we need to treat kids the right way. Diba? Sabi nga niya dito, whoever welcomes one of these little children. Ako naniniwala yung little children dito, hindi lang yung mga nasa childhood. Kasama dyan yung mga babies. Whoever welcomes one of these little children in my name. Ibig sabihin ng in my name is, you love them the way Christ loved children. Diba? He is telling us na the way we treat kids, dapat talaga special. The way we treat babies, dapat talaga punong-puno ng pagmamahal. Because the Bible also knows that whatever happens during infancy, meron niyang long-term effect as we grow older in our development. Kaya dapat lamang talaga na napaka sensitive natin, napaka-cautious natin in the way we handle babies. As much as possible, we give them the best environment, we give them the best care, na dapat nakukuha nila as babies. Again, in the Bible, it says, let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as this. Ganun ka-special yung treatment ni Jesus sa mga babies when He was on earth. Sabi niya, do not hinder them. Ako naniniwala, pwede mo rin tong i-interpret as do not hinder them from the love that they are seeking for. Do not hinder them from the curiosity that they want, because they are hungry for learning. Kaya dapat talaga maging maayos, maging well-equipped tayo in handling infants. Yun lang ang bad news, no? Idadagdag ko lang to ng mabilisan. Napapansin ko rin kasi sa Pilipinas, 'di ba? Hindi naman kaila sa atin 'to, no, na isa sa mga problema natin is teenage pregnancy. And I believe that one effect of teenage pregnancy is there are a lot of mothers that we have, the young mothers, they are not emotionally, financially ready to have babies. And so as a result, kung kulang sila sa emotional resources, kulang sa financial resources, kulang sa iba pang mga resources, it would compromise the positive development of the babies. Diba? Kaya dapat ma-address din natin itong societal problem na ito kung bakit ba tumataas yung ating teenage pregnancy. So before we end our lesson for today, ano yung mga takeaways natin? Number 1, infancy is the foundation period. Again, paulit-ulit ko to sinabi in this episode, whatever experience, whatever things that happen to them during this period, okay, talagang malaking epekto niyan sa mga fabrics of their being, their intellect, their language, their emotions, the way they relate with other people, at marami pang iba. Dito nagsisimula yan during infancy. Number 2, I hope you realize that babies are not empty slates. So yung tabula rasa view, ni John Locke nung pinanganak daw tayo, wala pa tayong laman, mali yan. Because we already have certain things in our psyche. Meron na tayong reflexes, meron na tayong capacity to feel emotions, meron na tayong certain level of intelligence or even temper. Number 3, babies need human stimulation. Again, importante na yung baby pakainin ng maayos, but again, sabi nga ni Jesus, man does not live by bread alone. Ako naniniwala that also applies to infants, 'di ba? Hindi lang puro gatas ang dapat binibigay sa bata. Human stimulation is very important. So the best way, one of the best things that you can give a baby is time to interact with the baby. Time where you can make the baby feel that he or she is special. You can make the baby feel that he or she deserves the care that you are giving the baby. And last one, number 4, baby's needs must be given. That's why parents must be capable and responsible. Diba? Sinabi ko nga ito kanina. Ang isang baby, hindi lang pagkain ang kailangan yan. Kailangan din yan ng emotional, meron din yung emotional needs, meron din yung intellectual needs, meron din yung interpersonal needs. And for you to give these needs to a baby, you need resources. Malungkot lang, marami mga parents, marami mga nanay or even mga tatay, nagpapamilya sila na hindi pa ganun karami yung resources nila. And again, if you don't have adequate resources to support the baby's development, it can affect this baby's long term. Dahil wala kang resources or kulang yung resources mo kasi hindi mo napaghandaan, ang mangyayari niyan magiging insecurely attached yung baby. Diba? Lalaki siya sa isang environment na hindi environmentally or hindi intellectually stimulating. And that will affect, again, the development of the baby habang siya ay tumatanda. So, kinakailangan talaga pinaghahandaan ang pagbe-baby. Pinaghahandaan na dapat marami kang mga resources, sapat ang iyong skills, ang iyong knowledge in how to handle a baby before you choose how to take care or before you choose to take care of a baby. So those are some of our takeaways for today's lecture on infancy period. Thank you for listening. I hope marami kayong natutunan. If you have any comments or if you want to share anything or questions about infancy, you can just comment down below. Thank you for listening, everyone.